Welcome back to another type of conjunctions or connectives. The most important type of conjunctions, these are called transition words or conjunctive adverbs. Firstly, it's better to use transition words more than coordinating conjunctions, more than fanboys. Why? To make your writing more interesting. Because transition words, you can find them in reading text. Transitional words, their function is to show the relationship between ideas in the paragraph or show the relationship between paragraphs in a whole text. For example, when you write, it's better to use however instead of but, therefore instead of so, furthermore instead of and. The first note about transition words, we use special punctuation marks with transition words according to their own positions. If the transition word comes at the beginning of a paragraph or a sentence, we use a comma after. For example, however, comma, he came late. So if I start the sentence or if I start the paragraph with a transition words, conjunctive adverb, we must draw a comma after. Between two independent clauses, if the transition word comes between two independent clauses, two complete sentences, two simple sentences, we have two different ways of punctuation. For example, Ritaj woke up late, however, she caught the bus. Here, however, comes between two complete sentences. So we can put full stop before, but however, the transition word should start with a capital letter and it's followed by a comma. Or we can use semicolon before the transition word. In this case, there is no need to start the transition word with a capital letter and then it's followed by a comma. Note that semicolon, dash, and colon have the same function of the full stop, period. The third position of transition words, if the transition words comes in the middle. Firstly, to separate the subject and its verb, its predicate. In this case, we draw two commas. Like Farida woke up early. This is an independent clause, simple sentence. However, the transition word comes separate between the subject and its verb. In this case, we draw two commas. Or to separate the helping verb and the main verb. El verb phrase comes in the middle between the helping verb and the main verb. In this case as well, we draw two commas. We use two commas. Like, they will travel to finish their study. They will travel. This is a verb phrase. The transition words comes in the middle. In this case, we draw two commas. Now, the list of common transition words and their usage. We can use some transitional words to add more information for addition, like furthermore, also, to, next, secondly, second, and, or, lastly, further, again, in addition, as well, then, moreover, still, finally, along, uniquely. Or we can use some transition words to give examples, because when I give example, we add more information to enlarge the paragraph, to enlarge the text. For example, to illustrate, for example, such as, for instance. We have another type of transition words that we use for result, like as a result, as a consequence of, therefore, thus, consequently, hence, for this reason, due to, because of. All of these we can use them instead of so to show result, but we use transition words, as I told you before, to make our writing more interesting. And transition words help you to know the relationship between ideas in the sentence or in between paragraphs. The third type of transitional words, to give examples, to enlarge the paragraph, to give us more explanation for the idea you are like to illustrate, like such as, including, namely, in this case, proof of this, like, to demonstrate, to clarify, for example, for instance. The fourth type that we use for comparison, to compare two items, showing similarities. And we have other types to show differences for contrasting. So the transitional words for comparison, to show similarities, they are similarly, equally, likewise, just as, just like, similar to, same as, by the same taken, in the same way, comparable, as well, just as, so too. But the transitional words that are used to show contrasting, to show two different point of views, to explain, to introduce two different point of views in the same paragraph or two different paragraphs. Like, on the contrary, yet, but, even though, although, in spite of, on the one hand or on the other hand, in comparison, conversely, at the same time, however, nevertheless, despite, alike, in contrast, notwithstanding, alternatively. The last transitional words that we use at the end of the with the last paragraph, that is called concluding paragraph, as we learned before, concluding paragraph, to sum up the main idea of the whole text, to give a summary. So the transition words that are used for summary, like in short, on the whole, in other words, to be sure, clearly, anyway, in sum, to sum up, after all, in general, it seems. This is the fourth type of conjunctions, or they are called transition words or conjunctive adverbs, because they could be adverbs as well, used as an adverbs. But they are very, very important because you have questions about transitional words in reading and writing. In writing section, you could be asked about selecting the good transitional words, and in punctuation as well. As I told you, it has many different ways of punctuation marks that used with transitional words. Plus, in reading, it will help you to know the relation, to determine the relationship between ideas, between sentences. Okay, next session, I'll explain some conjunctions could be conjunctions or prepositions. We will learn how to differentiate. Thank you.